It's Will Shannon here, and I just wanted to discuss some public policy around tobacco and some interventions and things that can be done, and some of the challenge. Tobacco was introduced from the New World, which was North America, to the Old World, the existingly discovered world, from Christopher Columbus. You'll see there in the 1400s, and he learned it from the Native Americans, and the Native Americans were expert herbalists. They knew a lot about tobacco and other plants, and so they would take this intranasal, intraoral, and it can even be taken intrarectal. And these are three of the very legendary Native American tribes. From that time, we've had it obviously into the modern times. From the late 1800s, it was a gentleman called James Bonsack, and he actually mass-produced tobacco, and he worked out how to automatically roll cigarettes where before they were done by hand. When that happened, that meant that cigarettes became the dominant form of tobacco consumption as opposed to cigars, chewing, pipes, and so forth. You'll see here that there's more modern types, vaping, e-cigarettes, and obviously these are problems with minors and so forth, which can be targeted with public policy. There's different chemicals in vape. We know there's nail polish remover, things in weed killer, insect repellent. This is obviously the anatomy of a vape and an e-cigarette. And you'll see here the different types of e-cigarettes are out now. It looks just like a conventional cigarette, it looks just like a conventional pipe. You'll see in 2016 in New South Wales and Australia that the state government banned e-cigarettes, just like they banned conventional forms of tobacco. This is shisha, hookah, agile. You'll see that it puts very large amounts of carbon monoxide into people, and you'll see here that on the New South Wales government fact sheet, 45 minutes of shisha is the equivalent of 100 cigarettes. So 45 minutes of standard session of shisha is the equivalent of about 5 packs of cigarettes. So that's obviously a lot of carbon monoxide. You'll see here that there's more modern day growing methods. It's now can be genetically modified. You'll see these are some of the countries where it's commonly grown, and now it's this is a nicotine farm, and you'll see that it's often flavoured with things like cacao, licorice. Some of the dangers in Australia, you'll see that 2/3 of people that smoke actually end up dying from it, and it will take at least 10 years off the average person's life, and also can create a lot of respiratory disorders, including COPD. This is the main alkaloid or chemical constituent. There's 5 alkaloids. It contains nitrogen, nicotine, and then you'll see here, this is some of the beautiful advertising. Ayrton Senna and Elaine Pross, Rita Hayworth from the 40s, James Bond, tennis players, doctors recommend Camels. And you'll see here that 25% of tobacco in Australia is illicit, and you'll see that very vulnerable groups can be targeted with this. Children, low-income earners, people with mental illness, up to 70% roughly of people with schizophrenia smoke. And then you'll see even the Indigenous population are 3 times more likely to smoke. And there's been some interventions done specifically around that community which are worthwhile modelling. The 3 things that are the best cessation methods, or the most talked about cessation methods, quit lines, the patches to replace the nicotine, and various psychotherapeutic interventions. That's what we're going to discuss a little bit in this presentation, how we can help ourselves and our loved ones, and what sort of marketing strategies could we do as a counterforce against these tobacco consumption and industry. So you'll see here that about 85% of the world have access to a wireless phone. We've put an example there of the Apple, Samsung, Google, and you'll see here that a lot of a significant portion of the world have over 2 phones. So this is one place where you can communicate with people and get their attention. You'll also see there's further marketing techniques which market cigarettes as seemingly less safe, and that's why you'll see there's light cigarettes, low tar cigarettes, menthol cigarettes, clove, and so forth. In terms of counter strategies that can be used, you'll see here the social media from LinkedIn to TikTok, and then you'll see that Google, Facebook, WhatsApp, and you'll see the statistics here, 3 billion, 2 billion, 1 billion for TikTok, and this is where the eyeballs are in order to market. Now, when people quit, they need to be aware of some of the side effects. There's about 14 side effects there. Weight gain, increased appetite, cold and flu type symptoms, cravings, restlessness, being irritable, headaches, difficulty concentrating. So it's important that people are aware of some of these things as they come off the nicotine and the tobacco, that they may go through some of these things. Some of the psychological models that are used to understand where people are at, where they're ready to quit. One's called the trans-theoretical model. So the trans-theoretical model starts from the pre-contemplation, so you're thinking of quitting, so that's no, I'm not ready to quit, to maybe I'll quit, so I'm preparing, to yes, I will quit, I will do it. Once you do it, then we need to maintain it and make sure people don't relapse. So this is called the trans-theoretical model. Trans means across in Latin, so it just means where's an individual at in their life cycle of needing to quit. The four step there, you'll see action, maintenance, relapse, which they sometimes call a recycle, and people can relapse at any stage, and we need to get them back to quitting. And there's a little bit of evidence for it. I won't go into it too heavily, but this is 3 studies that essentially validate the data that trans-theoretical model is more effective than just a control group. There's some other models as well. This is called a socio-ecological model. This goes from the individual, understanding that the individual is influenced by their environment. So their families, their friends, their peers, their workplaces, communities where they volunteer, right through to government and national bodies. So these are the 4 places we need to petition for change in public health, not just tobacco, alcohol, obesity, poor diet, and so forth. And you'll see here again just some statistical data that the socio-ecological model works better than a control group. This is a third type of model, which I won't go into too deeply, but this is called the belief system model, or the health belief model. And this is basically encouraging people to assess their triggers of negative and positive behaviour, and looking at benefits and risks of changing or not changing to their behaviour. Now, this is a study that shows that 2 of these 3 models work very well together. The trans-theoretical, so this is the individual model, where you work out where is the individual in that stage of needing to quit, and then factoring that in with their environment, their loved ones, who cares about them, who they care about, their community, and working out how these 2 things work together. Here is some example of some successful public policy that can be used. This is an example in Nepal. It's a very moving image of a child, how it could disturb the development of a child. And on the right, you'll see Malaysia, talking about how someone could save for a car or a house, or the money they're costing, and health-related issues if they don't quit. This is some of the government campaigns in Australia. The National Tobacco Campaign's been going on for a long time now, TV, social media, and you'll see here, you've probably seen this if you're an Australian, after 5 days, nicotine's out of the body. After a week, smell and taste improves. After 12 hours, the carbon monoxide is out. You're starting to reoxygenate. Over a year, you see on one of the latest ones, you've saved nearly $14,000 if you've given up. And then obviously risks of different lung and cardiovascular illnesses go down. This is further data from the Australian government about trying to deep breathe, hydrate, delaying the craving, looking at nicotine replacement, contacting quit lines, psychotherapy. And nicotine replacement is a big thing. Healthcare professionals can also assist and be trained. There's a 5-step method that they encourage, which is to ask the client or patient, do they consume tobacco, assess how bad their dependence is, advise them that quitting is in their best interest because it's better for them and their family and public health, and basically give them the assistance to do that, and then follow up. And obviously the credibility of a healthcare professional can help a lot. This is some of the nicotine replacement products that are available. In Australia, you've got the Quitline hotline, you've got a Quitline app, and you've got a calendar that can help. So these are some resources that can help people. This is a campaign that we were looking at doing, which is basically about saying yes to what's good for you, no to what's wrong, and encouraging people that clean air is the most basic human right, that essentially air should be clean, safe to breathe all year round, and that by minimising tobacco, you're avoiding death, disease, and disability. And we plan to back this up with benefits, risks, statistics, and different measurements. These are some examples of a marketing campaign that we can run that's just taken from various places on the internet, like Pinterest and things, which is encouraging people to hydrate, to eat healthier, to save money, to minimise alcohol, and being aware of the cardiovascular of the lung and some of the brain damage that they can do with themselves when they're lowering the oxygen with some of these dangerous chemicals. In order to initiate a public policy campaign like we propose, there's 6 steps of a project life cycle. You initiate it, you think it through, you do it, and then you optimize it and you measure. So this is an example of the World Health Organization, and they've got 6 pillars internationally, where they're enforcing bans, they're offering people to help quit, they're monitoring, they're raising tax and so forth. A 3-step plan would be the prevention of tobacco use, treatment, early intervention, and involving people in decision makings, working together and quantifying improvement. That initial stage of planning, you'll see vital strategies, which is planning research on the individual's belief systems, attitudes, audience, assessing the impact, and really engaging the community, which is at the level of individuals, families, groups, and governments. And you'll see really surveying people initially to know where they're at financially, in their health, socially, and with their self-perception. And then one policy that we would like to implement would be an early implementation of 18 to 45-year-olds, the younger market that might be targeted with vaping. You'll see here, this is one study that showed that in this instance, men were very associated to quit. So we thought we'd be aware that men could be a market that could be targeted for the sake of their family and others. And that young people showed in one study that if they hadn't smoked for very long, they were still associated to want to quit. So that's two subgroups that may need help. This is a 12-month overall plan. The first thing we would do in this policy would be to submit a pre-survey, put educational materials for people work, live and have their recreation, deliver to healthcare professionals in the various communities, the 5As, and show people those three options: contact and quit lines, nicotine patches, psychotherapies, and also educating families of withdrawal symptoms, and then getting feedback from those surveys, implementing these strategies, narrowing down on what works, getting rid of what doesn't, and then after 12 months ceasing, re-evaluating and reassessing where to from there. You'll see that some of the campaigns could contain things like vaping affects your health now and in the future, getting testimonials from very healthcare professionals, question answers with those in the know, and really trying to create incentives for younger people, fitness memberships, gift cards, looking good in public, and leveraging healthcare professionals to use that perceived credibility to educate people that this behaviour is not in their health interest. This is our proposed policy. So you'll see this is unique to us. Look at the individual, the family, the group, and the government. Encourage the use of quit lines. Raise awareness of the nicotine replacement patch. Look at various psychotherapy type interventions, and educate people on the dangers to themselves and others, and also encourage them to get help. Raising awareness with the family members, empowering the healthcare professionals with the 5As and other frameworks, and also empowering governmental departments. You'll see here some other awareness points that we can run local and various media campaigns. You'll see that governments should be encouraged to have appropriate capacity in their facilities to help people. Local businesses should be encouraged to have smoke-free workplace, smoke-free areas in homes, particularly for children. Strip the positive associations for young people to smoking, understand that it is a danger to their health, and target thresholds, households of those that smoke to stop the children following the patterns of the parents and the grandchildren, and then targeting these vulnerable populations for proper positive education, those with mental health issues, youth, Indigenous people, about the dangers, and also target those that may be cross-using other public and individual health dangers such as alcohol and various recreational drugs. And these people need to be connected with part of public policies to individuals and groups that can help them. This is an example of a group called Empower. Again, you've got the World Health Organization warn people about the dangers, enforce bans, protect people from tobacco smoke, monitor it across individuals and groups. And this is some example survey data that can be used in a public policy like we're proposing. This was used in Brazil by the Global Adult Tobacco Survey. Huge surveys look at who's using tobacco, secondhand smoke, the money, who's ceasing, what's their belief system about it, what are they being exposed to in the media, and so forth. So this is very valuable data. We propose that when we collect this data before and after this public policy campaign, that we measure it through the SMART goal framework. So is it specific? Is it measurable? Is it achievable? Is it realistic? Is it time bound? Did we use the resources? Did we use the time frame? Did we use the right people? Did we get the right metrics? And did we go above it or below time? Part of measuring an improvement is really trying to encourage people to stay employed, stay educated, stay volunteering in their community. We know these things statistically help people not be a public health risk or individual health risk. Stable access to housing, access to green areas, open airways, nutritious food, and not feeling a victim of various types of stigma and moving will encourage people to make healthier food, tobacco and alcohol choices. And you'll see here that some ongoing factors to monitor that could put people at risk of these public health policies is poor employment, a negative environment, poverty, lack of access to food or housing. Being socially isolated is a big one, lacking support and meaningful connections with people that they care about. You'll see here that once we do this public policy, we're recommending that we do a tobacco research and evaluation strategy based on key stakeholder data from the individual, the family, the different institutions in the community, and any government departments we interact with, using quality data and quantity data, and basically prepare information briefs for people before and after to evaluate how this went, and to continue collaborating. Just finally, as we wrap up, these are other factors that may influence tobacco consumption, who they're socializing with, their monetary situation, different cultural belief systems, what they're being exposed to through commercial marketing and digital platforms, and just a general structure of where they fit into society in their life. And you'll see again, part of survey patterns is to monitor where they're getting exposed to tobacco and tobacco awareness, positive or negative, protecting them from tobacco consumption, offering them help, and encouraging them to quit using quit lines and so forth. Just finally, as we wrap up, I think this is the second last slide. This is Tasmanian Health. There was an increase in health, happiness, money, and productivity that can be measured. So people actually get more done when they give up tobacco. And you'll see that when they give up tobacco, they tend to want to eat better, want to reduce alcohol, be more engaged in the environmental change, try and learn about health in other areas of their life. And you'll also see that that contributes to a healthier group and also allows healthier collaborative decision making. And this is the very final slide. This is the National Australian Government's health framework. By 2020, they want to basically mobilise a health program across Australia to reduce tobacco and nicotine, to improve access to people of all ages to healthy food, to help people move, to increase cancer awareness and screening, improve immunisation, and reduce alcohol and other harmful drugs. And obviously mental health is a big deal now to create awareness around that. And you'll see there's different partners that we can partner with in this policy: unions, schools, professional association, business sectors, aged care, youth care. And then you'll see that the overall aim is to give Australians the best possible start. Appreciate you listening.